Welcome to another exciting edition of Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Paperboy.
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
And today we're going to talk about something that will happen to you when you're selling on eBay. It will happen to you regularly. And there are a lot of different schools of thought on it. And basically it comes down to questions. You are going to get questions from people. When do you answer them? When do you not answer them? And we're in two completely different situations. You've got employees, you've got a big warehouse, you've got ladders, you've got a lot more items listed than I do. So your answer is going to be a little bit different than mine. Why don't you start? What sorts of questions do you get, and when don't you answer them? Are there any shortcuts you have to answering them?
Man, where do I begin? I definitely start with the oldest every morning. Whatever, from the previous day, I'll answer first come, first serve, basically. But I have to weed out some of the riffraff as far as the ones that I hate the most. That people don't understand my system is on page 42 of this magazine. Is this ad in there? And they get upset, but I just can't hire an employee and pay him to go up a ladder, pull down a box, and then half the time they just want a free scan of the picture or something or some information. They're not going to buy the product. So that's the ones I have to weed out first and foremost. But low offers, insulting offers, I understand I should be entertaining every offer, but if I'm asking 20 or 25 on an item and the guys offer me $3, we're not going to come to an agreement. From over the years of experience, I know we're not going to meet at $10 or $12 or $15. And then there's the guys that are just plain silly as far as 40 offers of $1. And it's just a waste of my time. I have 300 emails when I wake up in the morning, and I just can't sit there all day accepting, countering, dollar offers. So those in bulk, I just delete them entirely. But those are the ones that eat up some of my riffraff emails.
I do know that there have been times where I've been helping you out over at the store, and you'll call me over and you'll bring the picture up. And you'll say, what does this look like in the bottom corner? What is this? Does this look like? Does this look like? Because sometimes there might be a glare. Sometimes there might be a mark. Sometimes there might be something or other like that. So one quick, easy thing to do is take a look at your item. And part of that, believe it or not, is how many times has this happened to you? Somebody will say to you, how many pages are there?
Yeah.
And you look at your listing and it says 12-page booklet.
Yeah.
That used to really upset me for some reason. At this point, first thing I do is I take a look at my item on eBay and see if the answer is there. Mm-hmm. And then I nicely tell them it's got 12 pages. That used to really bother me, though, because it's like, it says so right there. But I do find that, and you're in a different situation than I am with the listers that you have, because you've got one lister whose job is to get things on quickly. I mean, that's the entire job.
Yeah.
I do find that if you give information, when possible, size of the item. If you give information, number of pages, definitely putting the table of contents, that cuts down a lot of the possible questions that you're going to get. The reason why I bring this up is because I did get a question from somebody on an item. It was a Little Golden Book, and it was marked third print. And the way the Little Golden Books work, and a little education for you out there if you don't deal with them, is the prime Little Golden Book era, late 40s through late 60s. If you look inside the back cover, last page, down in the gutter, they call that the gutter, little area right there by the spine, there is a letter. That letter corresponds to the printing. So, for example, A would be first print, B would be second print. Quick, what would Z be?
26.
Nice! You learned your alphabet. Good job on that. On later prints, they actually will list it at the bottom of the title page, and they'll say 1977 printing or something like that. The early prints, and here's something else that a lot of people may not know if you don't deal in Little Golden Books, the early prints actually came with dust jackets. I don't know if you knew that or not. You find them with dust jacket, they're very, very good. Buy them immediately, as long as the price isn't outrageous. Dust jacket ones are very difficult to find. Another little thing on Little Golden Books is some of the earlier ones are thicker, more pages. Okay. So if you do feel a thicker one, it's an earlier printer as well. But the way that these real early prints were is on the copyright page. it listed what printing it was. Well, this gentleman emailed me and said, I need more details. You say it's third print. I need pictures. I need details. How do you know that? And I was less than happy. It's like, I do know how to read. I didn't just say it was third print.
Right.
I mean, obviously, if I just said it was third print, shipped it out, you're going to send it back upset because it's not third print. Obviously, I got that information from somewhere.
Right.
Now, it was listed long enough ago that I didn't didn't show a picture of the copyright page, although I don't know as if I would anyway because it's listed there. It bothered me, and I banned him because it bothered me. It just really did. Well, he emailed back a couple of days later through eBay and apologized and said, I'm sorry if I rubbed you the wrong way, da, da, da. And I reinstated him. He offered to pay at full price. I said, look, I overreacted, make an offer. And he made a fair offer, a couple of dollars off. And I shipped it off to him, and he was happy. And he's a happy customer at this point. But, again, it just kind of bothered me. And that's something else that sometimes we're all human. Sometimes we do get upset when we shouldn't necessarily get upset. Somebody says something where they question your knowledge, and it's something that you do know. It'd be a completely different story if I were listing a glass bottle.
Yeah.
And the gentleman tells me, oh, this is okay, I don't know glass bottles.
Right.
You know more than I do. But this was a simple case of reading the item.
Yeah, but basically, like every day, there's like one person I want to ban. Just they don't even have to be a buyer. You could just tell like they're hostile or they're going to find the problem with the item no matter what. And I'd rather not deal with these people. And generally, it's like a cheap item. It's not like $500. It's $5, $10, $20, and it's just not worth it. So I'll call a paperweight up and let's ban another guy. So.
No, that is true. That is true. A lot of people out there, as I've said, and I believe I've said this before on the video. They want to buy a Rolls Royce at the price of a Yugo. Not going to happen. It's simply not going to. And if they can buy a Rolls Royce at the price of a Yugo, it probably got some issues.
Yep.
You might be able to buy the front emblem off a Rolls Royce for the price of a Yugo. But so basically, the other time, now my system's set up a little differently than yours in that I work out of the house, so my items are all there. I take a look and how quickly can I find the item and what exactly is the question about? Does it seem, is it worth my time to go down and find? Because say it's something I listed 10, 12 years ago and I've got a $9 price on it. I'm not going to dig the house apart trying to find this item in order to answer the gentleman's question. But if it's something or other where I fairly certain I know where it is, I will go down and answer the question for them. And I'd say roughly a third to 40% of the time a purchase comes out of that. So that's kind of good. The ones that bother me, and I know I've told this story before, but it still sticks in my craw all these days. I know you've had them before. Metal Maniacs magazine.
Yes.
What would you describe that magazine as? What type of magazine? I mean, it's heavy metal, but it's not necessarily.
Music,
but it's not
rock.
necessarily mainstream heavy metal. I don't know if you've really looked at it,
Yeah,
but
there's
it's
some obscure stuff going on.
yeah, it's
there.
not necessarily. I mean, Megadeth might be in there, but
Right.
that's not the big thing. It's
Yeah.
some Celtic Frost, Celtic Frost. I don't know
Yeah,
exactly how you
I
say
mean,
it,
they
but
may have Metallica on occasion or something like that, but it's definitely offbeat.
it's the heavier metal stuff.
Yeah.
A gentleman sent me a message and said, "Hey, I was part of this band. Can you see if I'm in there? This might be the issue we're in." So I looked into it. Great news, you're in there. He never bought it.
Yeah. Right.
Now, did he find it somewhere else cheaper? Did he send that question out to 10 different people, figuring one person's going to bite
Yeah.
and answer it, and then he'll buy from the cheapest? Did he just want to know, hey, that's the issue I'm in, and that's it? Perhaps he had a whole collection of 50 of the magazines and didn't feel like going through them all, so he said, I think it might be that one, and asked me, and then I answered it for him, and he goes, oh, cool, I've got that one already. And that kind of thing.
Not worth it. No.
It's not. And one last thing to help you minimize the questions is, as I said, tell the size of the book or the magazine, that sort of thing, if possible. If it's something offbeat, I mean, everybody kind of knows what a Newsweek magazine is. Everybody kind of knows Life magazine size, et cetera, et cetera. But, you got something or other in there. I use code words, such as I'll use booklet. That way I know it's a smaller item. And if it's a larger item, I don't use booklet. That kind of thing, too, so I can answer quickly questions like that. But know what people are looking for. And I'll give you a perfect example. Jack and Jill magazines. You've had those.
Yep.
Some of the issues have paper dowels in the centerfold. There are a lot of paper dowel collectors. Make sure the centerfold's there. If it's a paper dowel, mention it's a paper dowel. That will save you later having to find it because somebody will email you and say, does that issue have a paper dowel?
Posters, cards, anything like that. If it's a sports magazine that has cards in it, you got to mention that, and try and scan the cards as well, because you're going to get questions on those too.
Yep. Various things. A lot of people collect a couple of cream of wheat ads. They're in the inside of Needlecraft magazines from the 1920s and 30s. Mm-hmm. Mention which one it is. Show a picture if possible. Mention which one it is. When people go to buy the stuff, that's what a lot of people are buying for. Some people are buying it for the patterns, et cetera, et cetera. But the collector of the cream of wheat ads wants to know what the cream of wheat ad is in there. So it'll save you a lot of trouble just doing that when you're listing. So when you're holding in your hand listing it, ask yourself, what might somebody ask me about? How can I answer it? And I have definitely noticed putting the table of contents up does lessen the number of questions that I get. Definitely worth doing if you have the time to do it. You will get fewer questions that way. So again, answer when you can, but don't pay somebody to be answering all these questions. Don't tear your house apart trying to find this item to answer a question on an $8 item. But if it's reasonable, a reasonable question, and a lot of times the answer is a lot of times right there in the listing. One other quick thing, and I do know you will answer these questions no matter how ridiculous the question is. If you just listed it and it's sitting right there.
Yes, absolutely.
It's one of those where, and I know you've changed systems throughout the years, but certainly in the past it was like, oh, he's asking about that. Hey, it's right here. Why, it's this card right here. It's card 10. There you go.
Yeah.
And you put that in. Another quick thing you can do is when you are answering the question, you can check the box to make that appear on the listing. So if it's a question that you feel other people are going to ask as well, you can check that box and anybody coming across the listing can read the answer. Or if it's something that absolutely should be in the listing, when you're clicking through to find out what box you have it stored in, whatever, you can revise your item. So that'll help you as well. So don't feel you need to answer every single question. I know some people say you should. There's just no possible way you can, especially as your inventory gets larger. You got 2 items, yes, answer their questions. But as you get larger, you can't possibly answer every question. But the better job you do listing, the fewer questions you get later on. So hopefully this helps you some. If you could hit the like button and subscribe, that'll really help us out a lot. And we do appreciate it. And we will see you next video.
Take care. Bye-bye.